So I have nothing to talk about. Um, However, it never stops me. Uh, last weekend was my granddaughter's bat mitzvah, Talia Sky Rubin. A bat mitzvah, for those of you who don't know, is a rite of passage for women. Uh, Bar mitzvahs for boys, um, and it's a arriving at adulthood or womanhood. And my granddaughter has been a kind of an amazing presence since she was tiny. But life offers every one of us tests of our level of attainment, if you will. So we know it in school, we know it in corporate life, we know it in real life. There are like these tests that come, and if you don't pass, there can be a million explanations. One of them is not ready, haven't learned the lesson, haven't studied hard enough, had a bad day. It can be all sorts of things that go on in life, but we get tested, and there is a kind of a rising energy that goes behind tests to propel you upward, to lift you up into the next level, if you will, of your life. And we have all experienced them our whole lives. And some tests you get by, some tests you pass, some tests you do really well, and some tests they call them passing with flying colors. So my granddaughter passed her bat mitzvah test, if that's what you want to call it, with flying colors in a weekend that can only be described because there was a gathering of the clan, of family and friends from all over, of many, I mean, quite a few people, hundreds of, not hundreds, but 100+ people. And the only word I can use to describe the moment was that it was perfect. I don't have that experience all the time in a collective sense. I can experience what I would call perfection in moments of day-to-day living. And I acknowledge them. I say thank you whenever they occur. But this one was a global weekend experience of perfection, meaning everybody showed up at their best. But Talia led the show. She was so prepared, so practiced, so herself on every level, and gave a talk about, interestingly, the absence of the empowerment of women in the Bible and the Torah. And she was against the lack of women's participation in the human journey. And she made a speech about belonging and the need to belong and the need to empower women in life. And she said at the end, and I belong. And it was a moment of such resonance and such a depth of expression because I had a bar mitzvah and I remember my talk having none of that. It had every bit of kind of the resonance of everybody else's kinds of memorized talks. Even in high school, I gave a graduation speech and didn't have the maturity of my 13-year-old granddaughter. So I just sat there kind of partly with my mouth open, partly with teary-eyed, and just said, yep, click, onward. But the entire weekend was a moving around from family member to family member, some of whom I haven't seen in many, many years. And in every single circumstance, a moment of connectivity, of sharing, of some kind of higher exchange, if you will, occurred. And this was not a class. This was not a gathering of students. This was just family and friends. And in every circumstance, there was depth, connectivity, holiness, if you will, something exquisite and beautiful in every single gathering. And my son Josh, who's a wonderful planner, and his wife Evan created a 3-day kind of extravaganza with dinners and uh, gatherings for breakfast and lunch. But we had this one thing after the bat mitzvah, which was on a boat on the Hudson River. And we all sailed on this boat on the Hudson River for 3 hours. And I kept going, really? Is this a good idea? It's going to be chilly and we'll all there'll be bands playing downstairs. And I just couldn't imagine it as being contemplative or quiet or enjoyable, but it was absolutely exquisitely wonderful. And it was life shining, illuminated, everything working. The weather was beautiful. Going under the Kingston Bridge was like so incredibly beautiful, this massive structure, and you're just sailing under it, and there's greenery all around you, and everybody is moving around and having moments with each other. And it was what life is. It's what life is. I described, you all know the story of my cruise last Christmas with 7,000 people and everybody in a horizontal plane and nobody relating to anything but themselves and food. And this was like the exact opposite. It was everybody reaching upward. It was the world coming down, the universe coming down and giving you these incredible hugs. And life can do that, but you have to show up. You have to show up for this. You can't just go to it and go, oh God, I got to go to another one of these things and just go there and eat and drink and whatever you're going to do. It's different than that. It's being present and being embraced by the moment and having everybody engaged at the same time. And it's a kind of what I would call a blessing. There is this blessing that comes down and says, good, yes. And everyone walked away from that, I have to say, in a kind of a glow. They took something back home with them that felt good. And it's in a way what life can be. Walking into life as a gathering with the opportunity to have real moments with people, to have real connection, to have love going back and forth, to experience on occasion, if only for a moment, the kind of calm serenity of being on a boat on the Hudson River with a lot of people and feeling like, wow, this is good. This is good. And our lives have those moments. They just do. If you are aware of them, you become what I would call grateful and celebratory. You go, beautiful. Sometimes it can go for a weekend. That's rare, but it does. Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 20 minutes or a few seconds. But all I can tell you is afterward, you will feel the glow. And that glow is the glow of having gotten an A+ on your history exam. That glow is having practiced and done the work and done the things you had to do to get it right. And when you get it right, you go, wow. And then what? You still have the English exam, you still have the physics exam. It doesn't end with one experience, it's ongoing. The idea of being tested by life is a given. And because it's so involved in the structure of our day-to-day life, the idea of going to school, learning what this is all about to the degree that it can be taught, getting understanding of what it means to be in a world with a historical background, with personal needs and understandings, scientific experiences that tell you, oh, this is going to work and that won't work because of tested experience down the path of life. You learn, and if you learn well, you get a good grade. You pass on to the next thing, whatever that next thing may be. But it's usually elevated. It's upward movement. You're going to the next grade, the next school, from elementary school to middle school to high school to college, maybe to graduate school. I don't know, working in the world, getting a life that has, things in it that are testing, that either you pass or you don't. And a lot of people, starting early on, identify as failures. You don't get it. The brain isn't cognating. The mind isn't available yet to the kind of lessons and learning that are being presented by the world. A lot of us have those moments. You put me in a math exam in any part of my life from the kindergarten up, I might pass, maybe. Mostly I didn't. I didn't do well. I didn't fail, but I could not. Algebra for me was an impossibility. It was not something I could go to. Geometry had some structure to it, so I had some capacity to do geometry. But there are parts of life that are hard to surmount. There are difficulties, there are failures along the way. And what those failures can help do is define, well, where do you pass? Where are you good? Where are the good points, the things that you succeed at in your life? And what most people try to do is follow those. If you follow them and you keep passing, you keep graduating upward to the next grade, and you start to find that you're going to major in something. I'm going to major in this, I'm going to major in that, meaning you're going to follow your strong points up the ladder, which is a great gift. And that's really, in a way, how life works. But that's the material manifested life. We get it every day through our day-to-day life. We're going up the ladder, or we're horizontal and going nowhere, or we're going downward, meaning we're losing our way. We don't know how to do this. Life's not working. We don't have a cognitive ability to handle the pressures of what life is bringing. Our hearts are often shut down by the struggle of life and not succeeding in the way we want to. Our intuition isn't in play at all. And we're just using a demolished mind, or a negative mind, or a difficult mind, or an incomplete mind to navigate a system we can't figure out. That is how many, many people live. And it starts in elementary school, and you're having struggles, and you're building in an idea of who you are as a person, who you are, and whether you're an A+ student, that builds into people's minds, or whether you're a D- student, which builds into your minds. And there's very little corrective for it in the material world. If you're lucky, if you are anointed, if you will, if you are blessed by something that gives you an awakening, that the whole of life is not about passing tests, it's not about being a good student exactly in the material world. There's something deeper going on. If you are initiated, sometimes via suffering, into a larger sense of the universe, you start to discover that not only do you have a life outside you, you have this life inside you. And in that life, there's also a kind of testing. But the testing is gentle. The testing is the grades that you get in it are joy, comfort, ease, acknowledgement in a quiet, simple way, but they are as big and meaningful as your A+ in the outer world. Finding your way then into the school of life, into the school of you, into the school that is within rather than the school that is without, is really the core of a human journey. You cannot navigate the whole of the world with an intellect alone. It's not enough. It's often not capable of it, and it's not going to last anyway. As Blanche and I now in our 80s are discovering that's not doing much work at all. It's kind of a problem area. But this inner thing is ageless. It's timeless, and it governs and it directs and it allows you to move forward and through a deepening sense of awareness of what and who you truly are. And when you have a problem in this inner journey of like finding a way into your heart or into the depth of your mind or into your gut level understanding of life, and you don't know what to do, there's a simple thing: ask for help. Ask for help. And I will tell you, this is the thing Rudy taught me, and I think it's one of the great gifts of the universe. It arrives. All you have to do is ask. Bring your attention into these places that are in some ways closed or not working properly or not adjusted properly, and say, please help me to surrender, to open, to deepen, or whatever it is that you sense you need in it. And miraculously, and I'm speaking from experience, may not be your experience, so you can say, oh, well, that's for Bruce and not me, but I don't think that's true. I go inside and I ask all the time, please help me to open, help me to surrender, because I need it, because the outer world is hard for me and chaotic and problematic, changing all the time. This is constant. And as I go into my heart and say, please help me to open it. And it can go really deep. And there's a flood of embrace for everything and everyone around me, for each of you, for the family members at the bat mitzvah, for the totality of life. This thing just opens. And there is a mind event that opens, which helps you to see things with a perspective you never knew was possible. The whole of your existence is all there to inform and guide you through your life. And also, it is touched by something, I'll call it divine. You may or may not love that word, but it is something divine that absolutely says, this is it, this is the way. And it carries you through your life, and it helps you understand the right choices as opposed to the stupid choices that not having that directive will give you. So you ask for help, and these things open up inside you. And there is this intuitive sense of knowing that is so powerful, and it just carries you day by day, minute by minute. It's not hard. It only takes sitting still long enough to remember that, yes, there's an inward journey, and then you start to feel balanced and whole as a person. Being balanced and whole is a extraordinary sense of knowing what it means to be human. If you're just living in the outer, you are not going to know that fullness, and you're not going to pass the tests of life. The tests of life come from knowing who you are, knowing who you're and what you are connected to. The tests of life are reaching into this guidance inside and having it inform you and going, yep. After the bat mitzvah weekend, or even during it, I can even say moment to moment through it, it was going, yep, 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 yep. And I didn't even need the yep, and it wasn't a big yep. It was just a sense of connection. I had sat with cousins I hadn't seen in years, and the depth of love and knowing and sharing that had been there decades ago was alive and well. And if it wasn't alive and well, I did this thing I do with all of you, which is I just throw the switches. I just find my way into the space that is somehow disorganized or lost at the moment, and I find a way to embrace and hug it using guidance, because I, Bruce, don't know anything about this, but this thing just happens through me, and then it opens, and there is this shocking awareness from each one of my relatives and old friends that we love each other, that we really love each other, we really care. And it's a test, if you will, because I know a lot of people go to these gatherings and they don't remember their names, which is already happening to me, but they don't, the past is kind of locked up in old strange memories and past tense experience, and they're there with their anxieties about the present and the future, and they are struggling with all of that in the middle of this joyful event. And then suddenly, if somebody can come, and it can be you, for example, not, it doesn't have to be Bruce, you can come to that person and do a thing which is a kind of embrace and a hug that drops away all the past, all the future, all the tension, all the drama, and just goes yes to right now. And you will be shocked at how much joy and beauty is delivered by you as a messenger, if you will, or a force of opening to others. It is exquisite beyond belief. And if you can do it to everybody in front of you, and there's no reason you can't, you will experience perfection. You will have a kind of A plus reading. And you'll go, wow, who knew? That was exquisite. The next day after the bat mitzvah, I had this glow. I just felt this glow of like, wow, I had an A plus. It was great. It was so beautiful. It was so much fun. It was so loving. It was so, everybody was beautiful and perfect. I mean, like perfect. And I just felt it all day long. And then on the day after, totally predictable, just so you know, everyone was gone. I was all alone. It was just me and Blanche. So I'm not totally alone, thank God. But there was emptiness, profound emptiness. It was over. Why have I been abandoned? Why can't I have a bat mitzvah 24/7 every day, all the time, and have that whatever that was? And the universe didn't answer me exactly. It's just the way it is. Emptiness follows fullness. It is like night follows day. It just goes like that. And my reaction was profound sadness and grief, and being what I find is the one thing that finally allows me to deal with this stuff, human. I'm just human. I feel the loss of that beauty and the loss of that moment and the loss of all these people I love so much. And they're gone and will be gone. And like everything in the universe will be gone. And this was just like a moment saying, you'll have and you will lose. And grief will pour through you, and it has a core sadness that is absolutely exquisitely beautiful on some level, but profoundly disturbing and difficult. And I had to deal with that. And I kind of asked for help to deal with it. And the next morning I woke up and George and Cheryl and their family were announcing that they were going to try to come over that day. When there was a lot more family there than I thought. And I went, oh, okay. And then they went out, the kids went out on a kayak trip and they didn't come. And it's 2 o'clock and I'm eating lunch already. 3 o'clock, 11 of them show up at my door. And we just sit outside, all of us, and we just started eating and enjoying each other again. It's like a mini bat mitzvah. And it was like the universe said, here, another taste, another moment. And it was so wonderful. And then they left. But I was ready because I knew they were going to leave. And I said, thank you for the additional touch of joy that that moment brought. And I said, thank you now for the stillness and the quietness that's in my life. And I walk around my house all the time. It's hard for me to walk outside sometimes because my strength and balance are not a given. So if I walk around my house, I can do 2 miles in the house. And I know it sounds strange, just like walking in circles, but it really is kind of joyful because I get embraced by so many of the good, lovely qualities of my house. But I walk around, it's like a walking meditation, but there's just so much gratitude. And so as the emptiness fell away and I was left with just walking through my house, all I could feel was thank you. Thank you. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And that is the foundational part of the testing experience in life. The learning to listen to the universe, do what you're told, take the tests that come along, do your best. If you don't do your best, they will send you back to learn it again until you get it right. When you get it right, there's not a big circle of applause. It's just check, and you go on to the next level, the next level, the next level. I will tell you, testing comes in many ways. The big test, of course, is the end of life test. I'm not going to go there right now because that's a whole talk in itself, but it's inevitable. It's the big one. But the test on the journey of life day to day and all the stuff that's going on, we're having huge temperature rises here due to global warming this coming week. And, the political landscape and all the stuff that we're playing with in the outer world is a test. It's just a test. There's not a lot we can do about most of it. We're all part of something very large and something cosmic, if you will. So the test really for us now is day to day, being still pointed, quiet, awaken yourself, and grateful for the moment to moment breath and being that you have in this world. To be alive is the gift. And I want you to know you pass a test if you can stay still, if you can stay open, if you can stay loving, if you can share that love with other people, if you can reach out, you are doing the thing that life wants you to do. You cannot control the climate. You cannot control politics other than voting, but you can control, if you will, and pass the test of day-to-day life by rising to the occasion and doing what's in front of you as best you can. On my walk, I see flower petals on the floor. I stoop down and pick them up. There's something good about that, but the stooping and the bending is like the best thing in the world for my back. The walking is a great gift, but every time I walk through the room and I see the sunlight outside and I go, thank you. It's a constant opportunity to be, if you will, tested by life, which is meaning, and this is Rudy's term, if it's in front of you, it's yours. Do the work. Pick up the flower petals, say thank you for what's working, Work hard to go to the parts of you that are not working. Ask for help and guidance to take care of the totality, and you will pass the test of life. And that is the journey that we are on. You want to graduate at the end. You don't want to be told, nope, you got to go back and do it again. You didn't get it right. Get it right. Get it right. It ain't hard. All you got to do to get it right is go inside, ask for help, open, embrace, and find a way to say thank you for the perfection of it all. Okay. Thank you. Again, questions and answers. Any questions anyway? Answers. Anybody have questions? Okay. We got the whole thing. The exam will come next week, and enjoy yourselves. Have a great Sunday. Have a great Father's Day. I didn't say anything about fathers. Remember, if those of you with fathers who are alive, that it is Father's Day, and tell them thank you if possible. And if you are a father and your kids forget it's Father's Day, forgive them, because there's a lot going on in this world. But love to everybody, and happy Father's Day to the fathers out there.